Welcome to Physics 2049 at TCC. This video reviews background information I give on the first day of class for anybody who happens to miss the first day of class or someone who's new to TCC and needs to have it for review. If any of the information here isn't clear to you or wasn't clear to you during lecture, be sure to see me during office hours so I can answer any questions you might have about the syllabus. First, because we start in the middle of the week this semester, the lab doesn't meet until the second week, the first full week of our semester. Next, in no particular order, this is calculus-based physics for students majoring in engineering, physics, and other physical sciences. I draw most of my examples from applications that appear in electrical engineering and in basic physics that physics majors would be taking in the future. You're expected to still know basic mechanics and vector skills from Physics 2048, and we'll make a little bit more use of calculus this semester. The main topics we cover are electricity and magnetism and circuits. If you're new to this textbook, you should review the IDEA approach that's on page 8 of the first volume. In fact, even if you're coming back to this course from last semester, you might want to review the basic ideas of problem solving that this textbook author uses. I'll assume that everyone knows the chain rule from Calc 1, no matter when you took calculus. We'll also be setting up some application integrals, which are like the ones that you do at the end of Calc 1 and sometimes during Calc 2. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we do a lot with vectors, some of which is best presented in your calculus textbook. So in addition to the vector information in Physics 2048, you might want to look over section 12.2 in Stewart to review the basic methods for dot product and cross product that we'll use in this course. As before, you may not use a TI-83 or other graphing type calculators on exams. If you don't already have one, you need a standard scientific calculator, usually referred to as a two-line calculator, some of which are listed here. All of the details about that are on my course website that you can also find in the syllabus information that's on Canvas. You might need a different calculator than you used last semester because scientific notation is extremely important in Physics 2049, and some of the more basic calculators that some of you may have used aren't as convenient for doing calculations in this course as they were in Physics 2048. There's a lot of information on Canvas. In particular, the entire 7-page syllabus is there. I only hand out a short 1-page version of the syllabus in lecture. You should go to Canvas to read the details in that syllabus, including, in particular, the grading rubric used on exams, but also go and read the advice from former physics students. They are a little bit different from what you got. I'm sure that you probably gave advice to Physics 2048 students that it's important to read the book and do homework before it's due, not procrastinate and ask questions in class. None of that's particularly new. But there are things that are different about Physics 2049, and you should pay attention to those particular aspects of the advice that students give you. And of course, they'll probably remind you to read the syllabus. That is the first thing you should do, along with reading the book. I also want to remind everyone that the admission rules for engineering always requires you to take and pass this class, but some departments put more emphasis on it than others. At Florida State, this is not a core course, so you can take more than one attempt at passing this class, and they don't particularly care if you fail it, although they will get irritated if you start failing your engineering classes after you transfer. That means you should assume that you can only have one attempt at this class and approach it that way, because that's what your future will hold for you. Again, Florida State does not reject students based on the number of attempts, but they do expect you to do it the first time. If you're planning to go to a different engineering school, you should pay attention to their requirements. Some of them will insist that you pass it on either the first or second try and might reject students whose grade is too low. That's even more important if you're planning to major in science at Florida State, because they will count failing grades in this class as well as every other class required for their major. We use an online program called Lon Kappa to do homework. If you're new to this course, you're going to need to learn about how to use that. The best way to do that is get a study partner who took Physics 1 here at TCC. And of course, if you read the advice files, you realize that you should start working on the first homework set today. As a reminder, your username is the same used for email with all of the letters in lowercase. The initial password will be explained in class, although it is also described in the syllabus. If for some reason you've forgotten your existing password, send me an email from your TCC account and I'll deal with that. You should log in today to be sure that you know what you're doing. So now go get started on your homework. Review the syllabus and the advice files on Canvas. Log into LonCappa and do the first few problems. And you should also read section 21.1 about electric fields and strategy 20.1 about calculating electric fields and forces quite carefully. And of course, start learning the equations that we use.